She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, stars Tatiana Maslany as the titular character herself, Mark Ruffalo and Tim Roth once again reprising their roles as both Hulk and Abomination, and tells the story of Jennifer Walters, an attorney by day, but when she accidentally gets a blood transfusion from her cousin Bruce, she starts to turn into the Hulk. This show, right now, kind of okay with critics. It's a mixed bag as a whole, but in my opinion, was it a good TV show? Let's find out in the review. She-Hulk, Attorney at Law is the next show in the Marvel Disney Plus franchise. As I stated in my review, I've already stated the plot, so no need to restate it here. Let's talk about my personal opinions of She-Hulk after the finale. It's fine. It's okay. It's not passable, but it's worth watch once, especially if you're into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Going more in depth to this, let's go back a few weeks. Going back a few weeks, I was optimistic about She-Hulk. I knew that it was a very different show from what they were trying to do, but at the same time, it had that horrendous CGI that it was first revealed to us, and it just wasn't good at all. And then I knew there would probably be some cringy jokes because it's Marvel. Every now and again, they'll throw in a couple cringy jokes. So I was still optimistic, though, hoping that would be good. And episodes 1 and 2 came out. They were fine. I was intrigued. They set up Jennifer's character very well. Let's see what else they do. Then we get to episodes 3 through 7, where we get to what I call the slump of the show, where we get into the big problem of She-Hulk, which is there's no plot. There is or at least there is plot, but it's so little and so minuscule that it keeps the audience disinterested in the show as a whole. I actually found myself around episode 4, maybe even episode 5, just skipping episodes entirely and watching them like the next week once something exciting actually happened, because I just couldn't stay interested in what they were giving us. Which is unfortunate, because She-Hulk as a show is very promising, because what She-Hulk offers is something different. It's very meta. It breaks the fourth wall. It plays with the audience. She-Hulk is very different, and it's probably one of the most different Marvel properties that I've seen in recent time. But it's unfortunate. It just feels like wasted potential with this show. They could have done so much better if they had had the plot. CGI is a little better than when we saw in that first trailer. It's still not great. I don't know what it is. For some reason, they can't CGI the women of Marvel, I guess. They can do pretty good for the men, specifically with Hulk and Abomination. I'm not saying they're perfect, but they look pretty good for the most part. And then you get to She-Hulk and you go, ooh, that's not right. That's digital. Way too digital, in fact. But overall, She-Hulk really hit a low because of those episodes from 3 to 7. And honestly, really tanked the show. With that being said, let's get into positives. I already mentioned episode 1 to 2. Very good origin story for the most part. But let's get into the last 2 episodes. Not going to get into spoilers in this episode, but the last 2 episodes actually brought the show up a couple notches. And it actually makes the show watchable in a way. I still think it's watchable once. I don't think this is a show I'm ever going to probably revisit, unless I'm watching it with somebody who hasn't seen it. But the show really picked up with its last 2 episodes, and it honestly made it a fun experience. I will honestly watch those last 2 episodes anytime. It's just everything else I can't watch. And I've already mentioned it's because of the plot. There is no plot. But those last 2 episodes really picked everything up, and it made it more exciting. It really went full meta. It really played with the audience, and I had the most belly laughs, I think, in this last episode. It was that funny. And it was honestly, I would say, for Marvel standards, genius. I thought it was a very genius approach they took to it. And then I guess staying on the track of positives, Tatiana Maslany as She-Hulk, very, very good. She plays the role very charismatic, and she is funny. It's unfortunate that this is her introduction show. I think that they did her wrong. They could have done more with her as She-Hulk. But also leading into positives, you have Hulk and Abomination returning, played once again by Mark Ruffalo and Tim Roth. Tim Roth is actually really good here. He's very endearing, which is different from obviously what we've seen in the past with The Incredible Hulk. But I was very excited to see Tim Roth return, and they did his character justice. They did really well. But guys, overall, She-Hulk, if you haven't seen it and you just want to watch something that's out and you really want something mind-numbing, give She-Hulk a chance. Fine. I at least know you'll like the last 2 episodes. And then the acting is pretty good. And then the score. The score is pretty fantastic, as is with most Marvel properties. But She-Hulk, overall, probably 4.5 out of 10. It's fine. It's okay. Disappointing. Yeah, very disappointing. It had so much potential. Didn't have a plot. All the materials were there. They just had to drive it home, and they didn't. And so that's the unfortunate thing. But guys, that's it for this review. That's it for She-Hulk. I thank you guys for tuning in for this episode. Next episode should probably be Halloween Ends. And then after that, House of the Dragon, because those are ending very, very soon. But guys, yeah, my name's Carson Kreitner. This has been She-Hulk, and peace out.